Hey guys, today we're going to take a look at our curriculum choices for the 2023-2024 school year. So first of all, hi, my name is Caitlin. I'm a homeschooling mom of 4. We are just wrapping up our 4th year homeschooling. So next year, which is what I'm talking about for this curriculum, is year 5. I have a 9-year-old who is, like, by school standards, he will be 4th grade, and a 7-year-old who will be 2nd grade. Of course, we know as homeschoolers, grades are kind of non-existent, fluid, whatever, but I do think it's helpful to use the grade terminology just to kind of see where my kids are as you're looking at your information. So 4th grade and 2nd grade is kind of what I'm planning for. I also have a 4-year-old who will be doing some light preschool work. We do not do, or I have never done, don't want to say we don't do this because you never know, but so far I've never done a formal preschool curriculum with my kids. I just do some really light preschool work with them until they start kindergarten. So since she is 4, we'll be doing that with her as well. And then I have a toddler, but for the purpose of this video, that does not matter. Okay, so if you've been around for a while, you know that we use classical conversations. That is kind of the spine of our homeschools, how people refer to classical conversations. This is not exactly a set curriculum for a specific subject. If you're not familiar with CC, I have a lot of other videos that kind of go in more depth and explain it. But basically, we meet once a week with our CC community, which is similar-ish to a co-op, not exactly the same, so we don't call it a co-op, but there we do science experiments, we do fine arts things, the kids do presentations, and they learn pieces of memory work about multiple subjects: history, science, language arts, or English, Latin, various different parts of a timeline each week. And so then at home, we build upon that as much or as little as we want to. So I have, kind of changed that up every year. You can see past videos, but this is kind of our starting point. My oldest 3 will all be participating in Classical Conversations Foundations, which is this here. And so that's part of what we'll do. Now, I try as much as possible to follow a one room schoolhouse model and do as many things together as we can so that we don't have a whole bunch of separate subjects. So we're going to talk about that first before I tell you what my 4th grader's doing, what my 2nd grader's doing, and what my preschooler's doing. So like I said, CC, that's kind of our main thing that we all do together. And then for Bible, we are using, it's called Bible Study Guide for All Ages. There's not a book exactly. You purchase the PDFs, and I have put them in these little spiral bound workbook things for each of my kids. We started that this year. We really like it, and we'll continue that next year. I need to do a whole separate review video about that one. It's not a super well-known curriculum, and I want to kind of show how does it work, how do you pick, because it can be a little overwhelming, and so that's why it took me a couple years to start it. But we like Bible Study Guide, and so that's what we'll continue with our Bible study. Then for history, we are going to be using our 50 states this year. I have used the other NOTGRASS elementary history, which is our Star Spangled Story. I used that a couple years ago. My kids really, really loved it. We used it mostly as a read aloud. We didn't do the full workbook and all the supplemental literature and all that stuff. We just used it as a read aloud, and they loved it. So this year for CC, the history focus for CC is United States history, and the geography focus is the United States. So learning the states and some other major landmarks in the US. So I thought this would be the perfect curriculum to go along with that. Like I said, with CC, you don't necessarily have to add in a separate history curriculum. In some years, we don't add in anything. We just kind of do what CC has. But my kids love history, especially American history. They love geography and maps. And they, like I said, they love NOTGRASS last time we used it. So we are going to be adding in our 50 states. So this is a history curriculum, elementary history curriculum that goes through each of the states. And we learn facts about the states, you learn history of the states. There are tons of activities to go along with it. So we're going to be using this alongside what we're learning in CC to be like just our history. And again, we'll use it as a read aloud. I don't have the workbooks or anything like that. We'll do the activities as they suit us. So we're not like super strict about this curriculum. We just kind of do it as it fits with our schedule. We also have been reading through the Story of the World series. We are currently reading volume 3, which lines up with U.S. history, and then volume 4 lines up with U.S. history. So I anticipate we will continue reading those through next year, though I have heard recently that volume 4 is better for older kids because some of the topics. So I'm going to need to preview this before we start reading it. Volumes 2 and 3 have been fine so far for my kids. They have loved them. It's been appropriate, but I do need to look into volume 4. But as long as this, I feel like it's okay for the ages of my kids, we're going to keep reading this alongside what we're doing with CC and with our 50 states, because it does talk about history in the US as well as other history in the rest of the world. So we just do this as a read aloud. We don't have the workbooks. I know you can get like full curriculum. We don't do that. We just use it as a read aloud. But that's kind of what we do for history. And then we also, since this year is US history, we will add in other read aloud fiction books, that kind of stuff that go along with it. But I kind of play that by ear. I don't have like a plan for that. Then we also, for science, I've never used a formal science curriculum, not planning to do that for this year. But partway through last year, I did find a website. It's like a subscription-based website that has science videos that line up exactly with what we're learning each week in science with CC. And we started using that just to expand on the science topics. And my kids love those videos. They're very well done. They're funny. They are engaging. I've learned a ton because science is not my strong suit. So we will be continuing with those this next year. And we just watch each video each week after we've learned that sentence. And so that's really all I plan to do as far, there's no science curriculum. I just plan to continue with those videos. And then, you know, in CC, in science, we're learning about the human body and things like that. So we'll pull in other stuff, but right now I don't have any formal set curriculum. Okay, so that's it for like our everybody does it together, one room schoolhouse stuff. So now let me talk about my individual kids. So for my 9-year-old who will be a 4th grader, we will be doing RightStart Math Level E. We've used RightStart Math since he was in kindergarten, absolutely love it. And so we will be diving in to Level E for him. And then for language arts, this year he is old enough to be part of CC Essentials. So Foundations is from ages 4 up to like basically 7th grade, whatever age that is. So they start, that's in the morning. And then once they hit 9 years old, 4th grade-ish, they also start going in the afternoon for CC Essentials. And that is like language arts type thing. So we will no longer be doing a separate language arts curriculum for him. We've used Logic English for him up until this year. We will now be using CC's Essentials. And so for that, which I just filmed a whole unboxing video showing what I got for Essentials. You can watch that if you're curious, but basically there's a writing component, which we are using IEW, history-based writing lessons. And then there's an English language arts curriculum, which that is a CC specific curriculum. There's like a bunch of pieces to it. Again, check out that unboxing. I haven't even put it in the binders yet, but we're gonna be using that for his grammar portion of language arts. Then for my 7-year-old who will be 2nd grade, he will be doing RightStart Math Level C, and he will be doing Logic of English, so that's math obviously, and then for language arts, Logic of English Foundations D. So those are his 2 curriculums. And then finally for my preschooler, like I said, I don't do a formal curriculum for preschool or anything, but I have with the boys used this preschool math at home. It's just like a very short, very gentle, easy, fun, play-based math curriculum that is a really good lead-in to RightStart Math. So if you know you're going to use RightStart Math, even if you don't, it's still great, but it uses a lot of concepts that you also see in RightStart. And so with both the boys, I did this in their preschool year before starting RightStart Math with them for their kindergarten year. And I plan to do the same with her. Now she is a little bit older as a preschooler, like she'll turn 5 earlier in her preschool year than my boys did. And so I may start some gentle kindergarten work with her. I'm just playing it by ear to see. She is interested in doing school, but she also wants to play a lot. And I don't know that she really wants to do it that badly. So I'm definitely taking cues from her, and we'll see as the year progresses if she's interested in kindergarten work. We may gently start some of our kindergarten curriculum, but for now I'm just planning on preschool. And so for preschool, we use preschool math at home, and then I also use handwriting without tears for handwriting. All my kids, including her, have taught themselves to print before we ever started school. And so I use handwriting without tears basically to like refine their printing, correct any things that they might be, start some of the letters at the bottom instead of at the top, that kind of thing. And so I'll be using that with her because she has taught herself how to print. It's very casual. She just does it for fun. So we'll use handwriting without tears. I do have like the teacher manual and the CD and all that stuff, but I don't use that. I did with my oldest, but with the other two, I didn't use that. All I did was use some worksheets that had the letters printed out and showed how to use them. And then we just practiced with those. And that was sufficient for them. That was fine because we weren't starting from scratch. They weren't learning them from scratch. So I'll do the math with her and some handwriting, and then that'll basically be it. The rest is play. We have the math activity pack that I made recently that I made a separate video for that. She'll use that, lots of play type things. But that's it as far as curriculum for preschool goes, and that's it. So yeah, that's our curriculum for this upcoming year. Pretty simple, straightforward. We'll pull in and add in things, as we progress, but as far as like the bulk of our curriculum, that's what we're doing. So anyway, hope that helps as you're getting ready for next year. Bye guys.